to film next week, so that's why we're taking advantage of the day here today. Danny's 10-day weekend starts today. He's taking a staycation, and that officially kicks off as soon as he's done with work for the day. And so I just don't know what kind of filming I'm going to be able to do next week, if at all. And we are in the beginning few days of Sampler September, so while I haven't worked on a whole lot of things recently, I'm going to be working on quite a few things here coming up. So I thought that I would pop in and share those things with you all. Before I get started talking about whips and plans and things, I just want to say thank you for all of your super amazing and sweet messages based on the announcement of Baby Does stuff. Very cool. I'm feeling the warm and fuzzies even still. We had a, just real brief here, we had an anatomy scan last week, and so I have some better pictures that I will show you guys maybe later, not today, but yeah, maybe later. I can talk more about Baby Does stuff. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep that at a minimum on the channel as best I can, so there we go. But all is well. We'll put that out there. All is well. All is, all of the measurements and things are all normal. So no worries there. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say before we get going on the stitchy stuff. If I'm being totally honest with you guys, this isn't going to be a very long video, and that's probably for the best because I really just want to get back to stitching. I'm really digging what I'm working on. I had a hard time putting my needle down this morning to stop and film, but nonetheless, we are here. So I want to get back to it as soon as possible. And there's inevitably going to be a post-editing nap. Anyway, so let's go ahead and let's just get into these works in progress, because that's what we're here for, right? Okay. So when last we spoke, I told you all that I was getting ready to work on In This Moment, and it was in the middle end of arbitrary August, and I told you guys that I was going to arbitrarily decide to go monogamous, and so that's what I did. I worked on In This Moment for the last 2 weeks or whatever it was of the month of August. So this is In This Moment. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Jeremiah Ketner. And this is my full coverage focus for 2020. Fabric, 25 count cream Lugana from Zweigart. I'm stitching this 1/1 full cross. And let's see, when you guys last saw this, I was in the midst of page 19. And I have now finished page 19 and am fairly close to the page finish on page 25. So let's just pan up so that you can see the whole thing. I doubt I can get her all in frame all at once, but I'm focused pretty much on the middle currently. So there she is, my gorgeous girl. And let's see here. So here is page 19, which I think I was part the way through last time I talked to you guys. I think I was about halfway, actually. And so I got that page finished, which brought me to just the very tip of the other swan's neck. Very cool. And that page was a lot of fun, just a lot of changing colors and some interesting stuff going on. And then I got going on page 25, which is basically torso. And so her chest is now complete, and it's a little bittersweet, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's a little bittersweet. But anyway, so yeah, her chest is done. This arm over here is almost done. There's just like a tiny little bit of stitching to do right there. I am getting towards like her belly button region. I think that her belly button like hits right at the page break. I is it a little less than or a little more than? Somewhere around 2,000 stitches left of the page. And yeah. So I was supposed to put this down on August 31st. And when I got up on Tuesday the 1st, let me think. I hadn't switched projects the night before, and so I just kept going. I spent another day with her, even though I was supposed to swap, but that's okay. It worked out. So that's where I'm at with page 25. I'm at 67,000 stitches, I think, overall this year on this project. So 2/3 of the way there, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. This page, something I meant to say, is stitching up so fast. The colors just flow. Like, I mean, they basically just trek downward. There's lots of kind of block color stitching. There's not a whole lot of confetti going on, but there's like, I'm making things, so it's interesting enough to keep me engaged. This blue section right here is bicep of this arm. When I was working on it, I was like, I do not understand these colors in here, but stepping back from it, you can kind of see that. Like, it's just interesting. This whole page is just interesting. And I've really enjoyed it. And I think that this next one is going to be a lot like that too, because this one's chest takes up the majority of the page, but we also get to this one's like face, which is cool. So some fun stuff coming. And then another half page. So that's pretty fun. That's pretty cool. So yeah, you can see that swan's face is going to be in that next page. And I also think I'm going to get the barest start on the lotus, which would be fun. So that's where we are within this moment, and I am loving her. Yeah, just very cool. I feel like there was more that I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was, so. Tuesday night, I was sure to switch projects so that come Wednesday morning, I was ready to get into some serious sampler September, and I am just so loving sampler September. I'm being enabled like crazy. I spend more time on social media than I should because I'm just scrolling through the hashtags, both sampler September and then September sampler soiree, which is the one that you're supposed to be using for reproduction samplers. But sampler September kind of applies to anything that kind of could be a sampler or sampler-ish or prem, I guess. Anyway, I have carts everywhere that are hundreds of dollars deep. But it's really just window shopping at this point. Anyway, I was really excited for sampler September. And my primary goal for this sampler September is my Hope sampler. This is by Moira Blackburn, and I started this for my birthday last year, so in 2019. I am not supposed to be working on this today, but it was another case of last night I didn't switch projects, and so when I sat down with my hot cup of coffee this morning, I just stitched. And I'm having a hard time walking away from this project because I am loving every stitch. So let me show you where I am up to at this point. She is on the frame currently, and I'm hoping that you're going to get the colors. I think you are. The grain is washing out of the fabric. The fabric is 32 count Belfast in green apple from XG Design. And I will link Jika's shop in the description box below because they just have some amazing fabrics. So anyway, I am working on the bottom left quadrant here. This big floral motif was in progress when I picked it up again, and so I finished that off. I did the little guys over here in the corners. I am working, so I'm kind of treating this like, so what I do is I do a big motif and then I do a length of border because I love the border, but it's boring, but it needs to get done. So I do a big motif and then a length of border and then a big motif and a length of border, etc. So there's that. So I've also done this bird here, kind of the leafy green bits, this bird here. Just bring it in a little bit closer so that y'all can see some stuff. I'm obsessed. Like, I'm just obsessed with this. It's been such an absolute joy to stitch, and I'm a little sad that the end is coming. But it is. It's definitely coming. I haven't had a finish since April? March, maybe? It's been a long time. And I could really go for a finish. And this is my primary goal for Sampler September this year. I'm just in the mood to finish something. So this is the one. So I have a few more days left to work on this. This flower pot planter down here is getting fairly close to done. And then this big motif is essentially repeated over here. There's another pair of birds over here. I have to edit what's going on here with the names and the dedications on this, because the verse is from Emily Dickinson's poem, "Hope is the Thing with Feathers." And she dated this Jane 1843. The Hope poem is believed to have been written in 1861. 18 years later. And I don't know what Jane has to do with anything. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So I'm gonna change some things about that. I haven't decided if I'm going to dedicate it to Emily Dickinson or something else. I don't know. So yeah, we'll see. But that's going to take some fiddling. And then I also have to stitch the verse itself. I think I've figured out what thread I'm going to use for that, but I've got to check my stash just to be sure that that's the right thing. So yeah, a few more days with this, we'll see it done. So that sort of brings us to plans a little bit, because I'm conflicted. I am conflicted. So let's talk about some plans officially. Okay, so let's talk about plans real quick, and why I'm conflicted, at least in the immediate. So when I came into September, I think I told you guys I was planning on alternating 3 days on In This Moment with 3 days on a sampler. I kind of changed that a little bit to working on In This Moment on the weekends. So essentially bringing back my HAED weekends. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, devoting to that project. So technically, today is Friday, so I should be working on In This Moment. Also, Full Coverage Fanatics has an event this weekend. It's called Confetti Conquistadors, in which you pull out your full coverage designs with lots of confetti in them, and you spend the weekend working on them. There's no stitch counts or anything like that. It's just kind of whatever progress you can or are willing to make. So yeah, that's kind of the premise, so to speak. Technically, where I'm at on In This Moment, there's no confetti going on. Like, it's like I said, it's flowing really well and it's stitching up really fast. However, all of my other full coverage designs, and I'm thinking mostly about my HAEDs, I'm in the first page or pages where in which it's all background. And so there's really, like, there's no confetti going on there. Beyond the fact that I only have one focus HAED, like, this is the closest thing I have to qualifying for confetti, and I'm not even really in it. So I'm just super conflicted because, like, participating in the event and trying to stick to my planned schedule. I'm aiming for about 9,000 stitches on that this month. And so I kind of need these few days sprinkled in here to work on it. But then also I'm so loving Hope Sampler, and I'm getting close to the finish, and it looks like tomorrow's going to be a pretty stitchy day. And so I could potentially finish that project this weekend if I worked on it, if I focus on it. I'm so conflicted, you guys. So I guess that really what it boils down to is we'll see what I end up going with. But the long story short is that in my very immediate future, I'll be working on these two things again. Whether it's in this moment this weekend and Hope Sampler starting on Monday or vice versa, those are going to be my immediate plans. Now, so a little bit further out. I talked about spinning a wheel of my samplers and sort of going with that kind of a concept for my planned rotation here in September. However, Semi-Sane Stitchers has an event this month, and it's Crazy Domino Effect, I think, is what the official title of it is. I know that I talked about two events last summer that kind of reminisce on this, and they basically just fused those two events together into this Crazy Domino Effect. So here's the premise. You pick your level, 25, 50, or 100. I chose 100 for simple math. So your whip number 1, you put in 100 stitches on it. Then you go to your whip number 2, however it has to be linked in some way to whip number 1, and you put in 200 stitches. Then whip number 3 has to be linked to whip number 2 some kind of way, some kind of how. Ideally not in the same way that 2 linked to 1. Follow me here. 300 stitches on whip 3, so on and so forth until at least 10. Okay. So you're not supposed to repeat projects, and the idea is that you come up with a different way to link each project to its predecessor, a different way. Okay, so what I ended up doing is I sat down and I listed out all of my samplers and my sampler-ish things and pulled some so that they would link up, making sure that some projects got higher stitch counts than others. That obviously didn't work out exactly the way that I planned it because Hope Sampler coming up early only qualified for 200 stitches. So anyway, so the long story short is that I now have a plan. I'm not randomizing here. So I started within this moment. In this moment, linked to Hope Sampler because birds. There are birds in both. Hope Sampler links to my next project, which is Leah Gronow, 1872 by Merry Wind Farm, for them both being samplers. So let me show you where I am starting with that. I don't know that I'm going to get to film next week, and so I want to show you the next couple of things just so that you know where I'm starting from. So this is Leah Gronow, 1872 by Merry Wind Farm. Started with Emily C. of Eclectic Possessions last November. I love this piece. So, so gorgeous. And this I am doing with all of the called for Gentle Art sampler threads with that one red exception. And this is on a 32 count Belfast in, vintage Meadow Rue. I couldn't remember if this was exemplar or Meadow Rue, but of course it's Meadow Rue. So this is where I'm starting from. And so I'll work on this for a couple of days. This is only pegged for 300 stitches, but 300 stitches ain't enough for me. So I'm going to go for a little bit more than that. Anyway, gorgeous, right? So there's that. So that will be after Hope Sampler in this moment, whatever is last on that. Okay, and that's living in this, well, let me back here. Okay, after Leah Gronow, it is linking to my next project by them both being reproductions. So Hope Sampler is not a reproduction, it's kind of a faux sampler, it's kind of meant to look like one, but it's not. As evidenced by the strange dating. Anyway, so my next one after Leah Gronow will be A New Start. And this is Elizabeth Biggs, 1833 by Gigi. I'm so thrilled to start this. I do not have fabric picked. I do not have threads pulled. I am totally unprepared. But I'm going to start this after I get my goal on Leah Gronow. And I'm just so excited to get going on that gorgeous border. It's gonna be intense, but I'm in love and I can't wait. So I have to pull my fabrics. This is a fairly big design. It's gonna take up the majority of a fat quarter of 40 count. And I'm excited. I can't wait to get it started. So that's gonna be my next one in line after that. Then after that, Blackwater Hollow. And I didn't bring that because I think that I'll be able to film before I reach that point. Because the intent is to work on In This Moment next weekend. So we'll kind of see how it all shakes out. I'm going to try to set it up so that I work on Blackwater Hollow on the 13th, which I know is a Sunday, but I started that for last Sampler September on the Full Harvest Moon Friday the 13th last September. And so I'd like to work on it again on the 13th, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. So that's kind of my plans moving forward here into September. And I'm super excited to work on these things. Yeah, it's awesome. Being somebody who stitches on so many different aesthetics and styles is super complicated. Like, I want to spend all of my time on In This Moment, and I want to spend all of my time on samplers, and I want to spend all of my time on Mirabilias, and there's just no time for all of that. So it's a balance that I struggle to keep up with. So those are the plans, and I guess we'll talk about some stash and then call it a day here, huh? This is wild. Wicked fast day. All right, so I wasn't originally going to have some stash, but some things happened. I have been on the hunt for 32 count Platinum Belfast by Zweigart for a little while. The Cottage Garden Samplings My Garden Journal, I have 2 of those done, and they are both done on Platinum, and I would like to get the whole series started before the end of the year. Because I think that those are going to be projects that will be a little bit more mobile, which could be important next year. So I've been on the hunt for Platinum Belfast. And so a couple of weeks ago, I checked out one of a shop that's becoming one of my favorites, Hobby House Needleworks, and looked to see if she had any Platinum. And she didn't at the time. I think she does right now. But anyway, however, while I was there, I saw a unicorn. 32 count Belfast linen in slate from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Can you believe it? So, let me show you. Yeah, I could not believe that I found a piece of slate. Just bananas, right? I mean, like, slate's just kind of hard to come by. So I placed an order for the fat quarter that she had in stock. One little piece of fabric cannot travel alone, so I ordered, oh, sorry for the glare. I'll just try to show this short term because I know everybody's seen it. This is Halloween Eve by Blackburn Designs. I have been looking at my Away We Ride. Another update on that a little later, but and so I've kind of been in the mood for another Blackbird Halloween design. So it could be this one. coming up here in October, but we'll see. So anyway, little piece of fabric can't travel alone, so it needed that. So Kathy at Hobby House messaged me Friday last week, and she goes, listen, I am so sorry. I don't have a fat quarter of slate. I have a fat eighth. Is that going to work for you? And I said, to be totally honest, a fat quarter would have been nice. A fat eighth, I will take it happily. That will work. I bought this for the Chalk Talk, hands-on design Chalk Talk. And so a fat quarter would have been enough to do 2 of them, but 1 is plenty. So that's good to go. No problem. She said, well, would you like a refund? Like, how do you want to do this? And I said, well, why don't you just throw in a fat eighth of a plain Zweigart linen, and we'll call it a day. She did, and refunded the difference. I was like, you didn't have to do that. And she serges the fabrics, and it got to me within like 72 hours, which I don't even understand. So this is 40 count Zweigart in raw. So just a natural. And it's gorgeous. So I'll find a use for that for sure. It's a fat eighth as well, but that is quite all right. So yeah, love Hobby House. I will be sure to link them below because they are wonderful. She even she serged. She could have just anyway. So that's it for stash. I found a big piece of platinum on Stash Unload this morning, and so that is on its way to me. I've been making lists of some things that I would like to acquire before New Year, and so those things will progressively start to come in, but sprinkled here and there. So I think that's it for the stash, which means that we are done in like 30-something minutes. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like the short videos. I know that you guys like the long ones, but I want to go stitch. So this works out really great for me. The next time that I film, I would like to talk to you guys about the list of things that that I am starting to put together for things that I want to finish before baby does stuff, before they get here. And then I would also like to maybe start doing some shout outs. I have a piece of paper with the shout outs that I wanted to do today, but it's in the other room, and I'll just do it next time. I'll do it next time. I want to thank everybody. Thank you for continuing to support my channel. Thank you for continuing to watch, and if you are new, then I hope that you liked what you saw here, and maybe consider subscribing. If you're a returning viewer, then much love. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope that you're stitching. As always, y'all be kind. Wear a mask. Be diligent. I will see you guys in the next one.